All right, we should be up and running here shortly. Let's go put in the things that we're going to be going over today. And we'll go ahead and get started. APTO and the ADGI. All right, let's get rid of the rest of these. All right, good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for December 14th, 2021. We've been closed for about 2 minutes here, basically just closed. Qs down 1%, SPY down 2/3%, and then IWM down 0.83 back to the support there, that daily sell setup following through. Coming into today, bearish on the IWM, but neutral on the Qs and SPY. We ended up getting a gap down here. So on the gap down, starting the hourly downtrend. So we'll see if this wants to follow through here. Not sure if we're really going to follow through because of the big event tomorrow. So we do have FOMC tomorrow. Focus will be what will kind of be the impact on interest rates and easing in general. So how's the market going to like it? I don't really have any kind of predictions for that or expectations for that. It's never really been my focus, trying to get ahead of the rate move. It's always just been to see what the fallout is, and especially the day after, because a lot of times we'll see the market respond to the initial move and then completely negate the move the next day. So even on the day of, we don't really have a final answer as far as how the market feels about Fed policy. So going into tomorrow, right, the first thing I think that we have on this chart is an hourly sell setup. The hourly sell setup is going to be triggered underneath 462 on the SPY and then underneath 380, on the Qs. That will trigger an hourly sell, okay? And so if that happens in the morning, maybe we get a slight gap down, we'll remain bearish because we do have the start of this hourly uptrend, just knowing that that could all be upended by the afternoon, okay? So that's kind of the big kind of caveat with today's market bias. The only other thing here that throws a wrench into that bearish bias is that the potential that today's low serves as a higher low, because it would have been a lot for this, I think, to get all the way back down to the lows here, and we would be expecting the bounce, but just something that to make note of here. Otherwise, yeah. But for all intents and purposes, we are going to be bearish going into tomorrow morning. Okay. All right. Let's go over the plays from today. Now, I was pretty excited about this GRTX gap. Now, I would say the biggest flaw in this thing was that it was a bit too big. Probably only gapped to like 250, but that's not that bad. Opening up at 283, not too bad. I did play this one pretty aggressively, just as a 1 minute high low because of the gap, because of the void. Okay, so island reversal, leaving behind this whole piece. Okay, so I played it pretty aggressively. Now, I was not able to get this thing to a target. Okay, because the 1 minute bar here, right, $3 by 270, it's about 30 cents. I only got about an hour and a half there. Okay, end up losing a little bit on this. I trailed this while I was on the mic, so you could probably tell if you're in the room, kind of disappointed that this didn't get more follow through given the quality of the gap and the void in the way, okay? And what I was looking for was like 360, 370. So it's not like I'm looking to close the gap. I think that would be unreasonable, although I sure would like to be a part of the play if it did that. Definitely would like to hold just in case something like that happens. So yeah, partial loss on the GRTX because I ended up trailing it. Just looked like it had run out of steam. It was no longer uptrending on the 5, and so I ended up kind of giving up on it. Yeah, which was fine. It would have stopped anyway. So it's kind of these situations what sometimes can be the most frustrating thing about trading. Okay. Which is that I played this one aggressively. Played it as a 1 minute high low. It only went an hour and a half, and then it would have stopped. what was the first play I passed on yesterday? A very similar type of play was the PTPI. PTPI yesterday was a 1 minute high-low right here. You can see a very similar starting entry bar, a bar with tails a little bit on both sides, but more of a bottoming tail there. And that actually gets to, I think, 3R plus, in which case that would have been pretty nice because I'm looking for 2R minimum. So, you say, how come this I didn't play yesterday? It worked great. It's the same entry pattern. And then I play this GRTX today and it doesn't work, right? Especially early on when I started trading, that was like the most frustrating thing. That just drove me, absolutely mad. Now, I know why I played the GRTX the way that I did. Big reward potential, PTPI. I didn't think the gap was that good, and then there was definitely some congestion to the left. There's always going to be plays that work and don't work that are very kind of similar, and we do our best to kind of play the highest quality ones, and sometimes even the higher quality ones fail, and some of the, good but not great ones will work. Okay? And especially when this happens, probably to me, a weekly basis maybe, where, I take two very similar plays. I might play one, pass on the other for whatever reason. This one I thought still had some resistance in the way on the daily, and one of them works and one of them doesn't. So it's just part of the game, and I went over this PTPI yesterday. I didn't really feel bad about it. I just, acknowledged that, there's some stuff working at the open that I let go. And, yesterday I hit a couple singles, and I'm always looking to, for the home run play, which is why I like the GRTX so much. Okay, it's because of the big reward potential, all the void up above. And I'm not even, looking to get, I don't know, all the way up to 7. So $7, I'm looking to get to 370, right? So I don't know if you say the void goes from like $2.50 to $7, maybe looking to get like 20% of this void, to capture that. So, did come close, just didn't quite get there. So that GRTX didn't quite work. And, when this was working early on in the morning, I thought about giving up. I also had I played the APTO short. I thought, maybe I'll close the APTO because the APTO, nice shakeout there and then set up the base. Was about a 7-cent stop on the APTO. And I also thought, well, this one, because it's a $1 something symbol, I just can't really drop that much. This is the base that I played. Can't really drop that much. I should just, cover it. And I got triggered right here. Cover it, and then, just stick with the GRTX. But I'm glad I didn't. That wouldn't have been the right thing to do. It just would have been a kind of arbitrary thing, because was in it from, what did I get filled, like 127? 127. And then, ended up giving 2Rs. So, even though, and part of that is the tighter stop, but ended up working a lot better. And it was actually in this until end of day because the hourly didn't trail. So it got close a couple of times. I was actually looking, maybe we can add to it at the very end of the day. You see it never broke 14 there. But it never triggered, so that was that. So, it was a little bit disappointing on the GRTX to not really get that thing to target, but, I also didn't overthink the APTO. I knew that, because I had a tight stop, I don't need it to go to 0 to have a nice target. So, that stuck with it. That ended up kind of making the day there on the APTO. Okay. And so we get faced with these situations like this all the time, where, we kind of want to overanalyze or overthink things and maybe even over frustrate ourselves, right? I'm bringing up the PTPI from yesterday, which I didn't play, and showing how similar it is to the GRTX. Sometimes this stuff will still bother me from time to time, but I'm pretty okay with what happened the last couple of days on these two things. Just because I had my reason for wanting to play the GRTX aggressive. And the PTPI, I didn't think it was warranted. So a lot of trading is just you make the decision and you kind of accept the consequences. It's kind of when you get into trouble is not accepting them. So what if, I decided, the GRTX has to work because I didn't get the PTPI, and maybe, instead of getting out of it, I'm like buying more and buying more on the way down, and then, here it is closing basically at the lows, and then I have a much bigger loss on my hand than I needed to. And that's just because I didn't want to accept that, GRTX wasn't going to work and I missed out on the PTPI yesterday or something like that. So, so it's just part of trading, kind of accepting, you made the decision and you got to, follow through on it. Right. So yeah, hopefully that all makes sense. Cause this kind of stuff, yeah, if you can get past it, the plays that you pass on that work and the plays that you try that are similar that don't work, if you can get past those, then a lot of the other things that come with trading aren't going to bother you. That's really for me, especially, that's like the hardest part. So, if you can kind of deal with all that, not let it get to you, all the other stuff will be easy. Okay. All right. Hope you did well today. Not too much. Oh, I put this ADGI on here. Sam had a nice play on the ADGI. It wasn't available for me on the ADGI, so that was a nice breakdown in the morning. Then gave another breakdown there. So, that kind of thing, sometimes too, I'll be like, oh, why is this not available? Of course, it's going to be a really nice play, So some people have multiple brokers to allow for that. I don't run into this issue too much where, what I want to play is unavailable. So, but it is one reason to have multiple brokers. Okay, so yeah, just really nice gap, really nice damaging gap there. APTO also pretty nice damaging gap. And then we already looked at the GRTX gap a couple of times. Okay, so still some decent gaps going on as we get closer and closer to the end of the year. All right. Hope you did well today. We will be back at it tomorrow, and I will talk to you then. Have a good evening.